So let's try to understand how can you implement your own adapter pattern. Okay. Adapter pattern is one of those patterns which is very situational, I believe. And there is one more very interesting saying regarding design patterns, that you write or use design patterns for the future, not for the present. That in future, when your code base will be relatively very big and some complex requirements can come up, so you are prepared for the future. So generally people say about design patterns. So now how can we implement the design patterns? So let's say that we have a class. Let's say we have a class. Let's call it as, oh, let's give it a good name. Uh, Payment processor. We have a payment processor class. Okay. Currently, as of now, the payment gateway that we use is Razorpay. So let's say we are using some Razorpay SDK or Razorpay APIs. Okay. So inside your payment processor class, what probably will be going on is you will be having a Razorpay RG is equals to new Razorpay. And then wherever you want to use, you might be calling Razorpay gateway dot make payment. Let's assume that Razorpay gives us a method make payment to actually make the payments, or I would say initiate a payment altogether. And then let's say maybe Razorpay gives us a method Razorpay dot get status. And then let's say you give a payment ID to get the status. Right. Let's say these kind of methods Razorpay gateway has given to us. But what will be the problem? A lot of classes like these will be there which will be using Razorpay. And let's say later either Razorpay changes the set of APIs, because currently let's say this get status takes a I would say payment ID. Later let's say it starts taking an object which is having a payment ID and let's say a transaction note, reconciliation note. Okay, so instead of the number, this, or I would say a string, they start taking an object. So this can change. So every place wherever you have used Razorpay in your code base, everywhere you have to change that. Problematic. Second thing, if later you want to integrate something else apart from Razorpay because Razorpay went bankrupt or it's not that reliable, you have to go at all of these kind of classes and change it to, let's say now the new payment gateway that you want to use is, let's say, Stripe. So you have to change it to Stripe s is equals to new Stripe. Then everywhere, let's say Stripe doesn't give you make payment. Let's say Stripe gives a method called as s dot do payment. Okay, Stripe, why Stripe will be having the same method name? Stripe can have a different method name, right? So problems like this can come up. So what do we need? We need an adapter layer in between your third parties and your current classes. So how do we do that? Let's say we make a class payment gateway adapter. Okay, we'll be having, let's say, a payment gateway adapter class. Okay, we'll be having a payment gateway adapter class. This payment gateway adapter class is going to be something that we are going to actually use. Okay, now before we actually start implementing this class, do you see a problem? If let's say from your payment processor, you move all of this logic to your payment gateway adapter, what can happen? Let's see. Now your payment gateway adapter has a Razorpay RG is equals to new Razorpay. And then let's say payment gateway adapter has a method init payment which internally calls rg.makePayment. And then let's say it has one more method, check status, which does rg.getStatus and takes a PID. Let's say this also takes a PID. Now what is the problem here? What is the problem here? You might feel, oh, things are going well. Now we have a payment gateway adapter. What will happen is my payment processor is now how your payment processor will look like? Your payment processor class is going to have a payment gateway adapter PG is equals to new payment gateway adapter. Can I say that? And now wherever you have to use inside your business logic, everywhere you can use a consistent method pg.init payment. You can use a pretty consistent method. And what you might propose to me is that, sir, later, let's say, now we want to integrate Razorpay. Instead of Razorpay, we want to integrate Stripe. I will just make the change in the logic of payment gateway adapter. Here I will integrate Stripe, new Stripe. Inside init payment, I will say s.do payment and so on. But do you see a problem in this implementation of the adapter pattern? Do you see a problem in this situation of adapter pattern? Do you think that the problem that we had in our concrete classes, we have just shifted that problem to another class, right? This is straight away violating open close principle, right? Because here we might be drastically changing the whole logic. It's not just doing some extensions. Can I say that? We should be always open for extension and closed for modification. But this is open for modifications. Can I say that? And what if some part of your application wants to use Razorpay? Because whenever you migrate to a new payment gateway, probably you don't want to immediately change Razorpay everywhere. Let's say some part of your code base still uses Razorpay, and slowly and steadily other part of your code base want to use Stripe. In that case, what will you do? You will write two different adapters everywhere. Do you see this has a problematic situation, right? So probably we might need to use some kind of solid principles, and using those solid principles, we might have to actually implement the adapter pattern.